Come and get it, everybody. ChiroFEAST is online and we are ready to serve. We've got a great guest that I am introducing you to today. In fact, I'm going to let you be a fly on the wall for a boot camp that we did with Ryan Rieder. If you do not know Ryan Rieder, you will if you are in the chiropractic profession. He is absolutely top notch, top flight, one of the best speakers, one of the best coaches in the industry, and just a genuinely great guy. So you are going to enjoy being a fly on the wall for a boot camp that we did. And here's the topic that we covered. So this might be very interesting to you. So listen up to this. How to read any new patient in the first 60 seconds and say the exact right thing to get them to start care. Ryan goes over it's actually kind of a secret to growing your practice by focusing on your ability to convert people into actual patients, people that come into your clinic, whether or not they're going to start or not, is of utmost importance. Getting people to sign on to your care plan, make a strong recommendation, get them on board for what you need to do to help them and do what's best for them. That is the secret. It's not just about numbers of new people. It's about actually getting those people to start care. So things that are going to be covered in this are the 4 new patient archetypes, walking into your practice every day, and the fast tells that reveal which one you're dealing with. Also, the exact language, tone, and framing that gets each archetype to say yes, and the words that quietly push them away. So I think you'll enjoy listening into this to learn more about converting your people that are walking through your doors into actual people that are going to be your favorite people for years and decades to come in your practice. Now, he has slides that he goes through. And so if you actually want to see the video, we've got a link to a YouTube video where you can actually watch and then see the slides that he shares. So if you're a little confused by just listening, it's because he was sharing his screen with us. And so if you want to see the slides, you can do so by clicking the link. I believe it's in the show notes so that you can watch that. So enjoy this, and we'll see you on the backside. Welcome, everybody, to the Big Fish Boot Camp. Ryan Rieder is with us today. And Ryan, I've had the pleasure of seeing you speak and hearing you speak from multiple stages. Ryan is one of the best in the chiropractic profession right now, and I say that in a way that because I am really picky. I like to hear. I like it when I hear people put their heart into what they are speaking about. I don't want to just hear a speech. I don't want to see a talking head. I like passionate people that love our profession and they pour it out, and they do so without the idea of receiving anything back. And I know that that's how the world works. When you do pour it out, you do receive back. But I know you do it without that in mind. And so thank you for being with us today. I'm excited because we're introducing you today, and we've been talking about having you at Chiro Life, our conference in December. And we've got 2 sessions with you scheduled for Chiro Life. So that's 2 1-hour periods where we're going to be able to hear from you again. And we're very excited to have you on the stage at that event in December, first weekend in December. And we're planning on having just maybe light snowflakes falling so that it's a perfect,
let's time. That'll be awesome.
it'll be a perfect snow globe. Uh,
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. I'm flying directly from there back to the UK for Christmas, I
oh,
think. So we don't get snow in the UK normally. So that'll be awesome. So excited to be with you guys down there.
yeah, and also one of the best series of books, honestly, that I've read, and I'll mention this from the stage as well. Particularly, the one that I enjoyed the most is the Conversion Alchemy series, where you talk about And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I mean, really
Yeah.
reading people and understanding people so that you can speak the chiropractic message to the person in the way that they need to hear it in
Mm,
order for them, why? To convert to care so you can change their life.
mm,
Uh, we have to focus on the end goal, which is our mission is changing people's lives, but we have to figure out who's sitting in front of us and how we're going to speak to them, and I know that's where we're headed today. And so you came up with the topic today, uh, Ryan, and a lot of people know a little bit of your background, but maybe you can give us 60
yes.
seconds of your background growing up in South Africa, and then what you've done in Europe. So give us that little background.
Yeah, that's perfect. Awesome. Really excited to be chatting with you guys today. I will say yes. I mean, Jeff, I remember you reached out to me after reading my book, and I was really humbled by your comments. And it was dog-eared, and there was notes, and there was like I've still got the picture of it, and it was awesome. And I actually wrote that book during COVID. We went down to South Africa, and COVID didn't really exist in South Africa, by the way. So we just went down there, which was awesome. And then we were actually long story, but you had to, if you were from a red country, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks in South Africa, in the UK when you came back. So we just didn't. And we just went from South Africa to the Maldives to Egypt. And we just kind of like traveled around waiting for this opportunity to be in a non-red country so we didn't have to hotel quarantine. So instead we kind of hotel quarantined in the Maldives. And honestly, that's where I wrote the book along my journey and went through that whole process. But excited to be with you guys today. Really excited. I love opportunities where I get to speak, not just a keynote, but I've got 2 hours with you in two separate sessions there. So we've got some really cool things. I'll tell you a bit more about my background, but just for context, I lost 4 webinars in a row. I think we had 400 registrants, the one, and then the one before that we had 450, and then we had 500 registrants for our last webinar, which is on this subject, the most registrants I've ever had in this industry. And I'm excited to share what I'm going to share tonight. But I do want to say something quickly. I just coming into your world, and specifically through Justin, and finding out a bit more about what it is you guys do and what is part of. I just want to say that I wish I'd known about this model and this group like that when I like yes, I wish I'd known about. I used to own 8 offices, all owner operated, and like honestly, I so wish I'd known about this model and this process when I owned my practices. Wow, I really think I would probably, I don't own practices anymore. I really think I probably would still own practices. And I love that. I just love that there's this, you guys say pay it forward, but I don't think if you've been in a relationship where there isn't this thing going, it's just so beautiful, Jeff. So I just want to say, dude, like I'm so impressed with the model. I love it so much. Justin's explained it a bit more to me, and I keep on going, this is just cool. I love it. I love how it's like a joint thing with be at one point, and then you've got the path for the next thing, and there's a natural end and all that. So just again, guys, jeez, I wish I'd been exposed to this earlier in my career. I definitely would have done it. And for us, I'm originally from South Africa. All you need to know is that we're the best rugby nation in the world. That's all you need to know. Won 2 World Cups in a row. And I will remind you that many times when I see you in person. And then I've got a funny accent, so I speak quite fast, which has been interesting for me. I've moved from there to the United Kingdom, which is an easy move. I was an associate for 2 years, and then and then bought into 2 practices. And then we scaled that from 2 practices to 8 practices in about 5 years. And we added £1 million of revenue every single year for 5 years, 30% growth year on year for 5 years, 3,500 visits every week, 10,000 new patients every year across the 8. That our internal marketing team, it was like we generated that ourselves. And I mean, that was back in the day where there was no Facebook, and then we went from that. I actually think it was a healthier time, by the way. I'll address that in a moment. I wish we could just turn off all social media right now and go back to the day where there wasn't social media. It will keep us all honest. And the problem is we all got used to at some point in our careers sitting at home in our underwear, pushing a button and getting new patients. And now all of a sudden it's hard. Right. And it was like, oh, it's like that. There were 1,000-a-week practices built when there was no social media. Organic social media, I think we need to be working hard on again, very hard, and I might address that in a moment. But I went through that transition, and then transitioned into full-time consulting and agency. So we have an agency that we do the marketing for over 100 chiropractors at any one time, and then a consulting group too. And I can show you some photos about that in a moment, etc. And now I basically teach full time. So, I mean, I can show you my calendar in a moment. I think I probably had 50 one-on-one consulting calls in the last 2 weeks, literally. And I have been probably at the moment more than ever been exposed to more chiropractors struggling than I've ever been exposed to, every day, all day. And we get those incomings all day, every day. And I think it's a mix between, the marketplace is certainly changing from a marketing perspective. And I will address that a little bit, but we can go deeper on that at the event. And then today I'm specifically going to talk about having worked with, at any one time, 30 associates at any one time for 10 years. At any one time, there were 30 associates, probably about 20 chiropractors, and then 10 other, let's call it, at any one time. And I always say there's a reason I'm bald. And that is it.
You were very likely the hardest working chiropractor in practice when you were in practice, and now you've just transferred that into the coaching world, and you're probably the hardest working coach in the world right now.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But I appreciate. I'll take it.
I don't know. I mean, you're working harder than me. Let's put it that way. So
yeah,
no.
Well, I appreciate that, and sometimes I think maybe you guys can relate to this. I don't even know if it's always a healthy thing. Hey, like sometimes I probably struggle, and why I often say I hang around with Justin and Dane. They really help me stay grounded a lot of times in my life about what's important, and family, and building some sustainability there. I can sometimes go too much the other way. So guys, I'm certainly not a finished product, as you could probably hear me talking already. Hopefully that comes across to you guys. I have all the same challenges as you. I essentially still run a small business, even though it's multi 7 figures, anything under 10 mil, we call ourselves, we're small business owners, if you will. And my practice is about 7.5 mil, if you will. But I'm just like you, I've got the same struggles, same stuff that keep me up at night, etc. And I am not a big fan of gurus from stage, like, when they, I once heard someone say, if it's a guy on stage never transparent about his, when the shit hits the fan, then you run, because the shit hits the fan a lot.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Ryan, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you for what you've accomplished and what you continue to pour into our profession. And so let's jump into that. You titled this. You titled the presentation. I know you've done this, and I know you've done this presentation over 2 hours, and now we've got 45 minutes. So,
I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut to the chase for you guys in many ways. So bear with me. I'm gonna talk fast, but it's a fun one, and it's a really fun one. And I've got some cool illustrations for you, which should help with the process. But actually,
I'll just mention this as well. Are you going to share a screen with us as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and get that set up? But I will say this to everybody that, how to read any new patient in 60 seconds. Guess who this also applies to? This applies to front desk. Okay. I mean, they're the first one that gets to read the patient. And sometimes they can even warn the doctor that they're going to see, hey, here's what I saw. Here's what I heard from this patient as they were walking in the door, or here's what they said to me. You can give a lot of clues from the front desk to the doctor. That also gives us a little bit of an advantage of knowing what we're walking into. And so I just want to say it's not just for chiropractors here. It's also for staff. I think it's really important.
Yeah, no, definitely. And before we get there, let me give you a little context of where I'm coming from. So I think a lot of the time, being a consultant, we have incomings and people want to find out about, most of the time, it's like, hey, Ryan, I want you to help me grow my practice. And there's kind of a question that's always placed is, what's more important? Is more new patients important, or better conversions? And like in the chat, let me know, like, what's more important, conversions or new patients? I don't know if we're fully going to agree on it today, but I wouldn't mind seeing in the chat, if you can, Mitch, what do you think it is? Put in the chat. What's more, Brad, Jared, Noah, Taylor? Just put in the chat for me there. Conversions, okay? We'll quantify this. Dr. Carl, tell me a little bit about that. What is the, I think we met at at the last event, right? So just put in the chat there, conversions, Mitch. Conversions to new patients. Guys, I don't care if you write, if you put conversions in the chat, that's great. But I guarantee you there's come a point in time where every single one of us has thought this thought. I know you've thought this thought. If I could only have more new patients, everything would be fine. Every one of us has been like, we say conversions is more important, but every one of us has thought, oh God, if I could just have more new customers, everything would be fine, right? So let me take the maths. Here's the maths for you. I think it's really cool. It's really cool to go through the maths. And I remember there was one of my greatest mentors. His name is Blair Singer, and he's based out of Arizona. He's must be pushing 80 now. And he's Robert Kiyosaki's best friend. So for those that don't know, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, best-selling business book of all time, by the way. Robert, I toured with Robert in Europe for 3 weeks. And I had done many things and events and processes and toured with Robert and Blair was his best mate, and they're both Rich Dad advisors. And when he did this exercise with us at one of his events, I was like, wow, that is really impactful. So what is it? Is it new patients or is it conversion? So let me quickly show you the math. Dr. Dan Donahue, most of you know on this, is a good friend of mine, and Dr. Justin on this, who most of you know. When we put through, when Dane often talks about $1 million practice, and he summarizes, and you write this down. Like for him, the $1 million formula for him was 7 new patients, and if we had a 50 PVA and we have a 60 OVA, write that down, 7, 50, 60, that works out to $1 million practice. Another way to, obviously you can change the new patients and all that, and that's 7 new patient conversions actually. Another way to look at it is 7 conversions at like a $3,000 case value times 50 weeks. You'll work out to your $1 million, okay? So let's work on 8 new patients. If you converted 8 new patients to 25, so if you had 8 new patients a week and you converted 25%, and then that's 2. If you got a PBA of 10, guys, there are many chiropractors I work with PBAs of 10. Okay, when they start with us, that's $1,000 times 50 weeks. That's $50,000 a year. Okay. So you can have 8 new patients a week and make 50K a year. But I don't care who you are. I know you intuitively understand that conversions are more important, but we've all thought, just please, if I could just have more new customers, everything will be fine. Don't think we fully understand how false that assumption is. And I'll show it to you. So first, if I tripled new patients. Now, but let me, for emphasis, let me just unshare. Guys, is it easy or is it difficult to triple new patients? To go from 8 to go to 24 new patients per chiropractor, one chiropractor. Is that easy or hard? Is it expensive to acquire new customers at the moment? You better freaking believe it is. So to go from 8 to 24, the problem in chiropractic is that we started with social media marketing or paid advertising shouldn't have been, I hire many people from many industries into my marketing agency. And bar none, they all come into my agency and they're like, how is this shit even working? It would never work in any other industry, which is cold advert to cold audience, to, hey, come in here and trust me with your life. That shit doesn't work in other industries. You have to build a lot of momentum, a lot of trust in the market. I'm going to teach you about that in a moment. So it worked really well, too well, and then we all got used to it, right? So then all we did was throw new patients at it. And someone gave me this analogy once. If you're going to make organic marketing working, if you're going to make your marketing work online over the next 2 years, you've got to be thinking of the starting point is organic, and then we accelerate it with paid. Okay. What we did was we started with paid and ignored organic by and large. So I'll give another example of this, of why every one of you, if the only thing you get from me now, in 2 years' time, you're going to be kicking yourself if you do not jump at this now. Every one of you need to be posting every single day now, because it's going to take you 2 years to get your head around this. And if you do not pivot now, it's coming for you. If your Facebook ads aren't working, if your Facebook ads are still working, you're very lucky. You're very lucky, because if they're still working, they're not going to be working soon if you don't pivot. So let me show you what I mean. So I told you about 500 registrants for my last webinar. It was off the back of first putting lots of organic content out. I'm also a baby in this world, by the way. The penny only dropped for me this year. And I'm probably 90 days in of posting every day and investing in that department. And what happens is you'll find one or two of your, typically the things you never think will work. You'll get more traction. And then you repurpose that as paid. And we took our cost per lead from $30, $40 a lead to $4 a lead. Because the marketplace already showed me that, hey, we like this reel organically, not paid. Then we repurposed that as paid traffic. And we went from $30, $40 a lead to $5 a lead. But I had to kiss a lot of frogs to get there. That was after like 150 posts. Okay. So I don't want to overemphasize, but I'm telling you right now, in 2 years' time from now, if you do not pivot into this in a way, and there's two types of content that you need to be pivoting to. One type of content is demonstration, I call it. Some guys are doing really well at this. And then the other type of content, either somebody's going to be good at that. And the other type of content is educational content. And it's like, when people go ranking things for your kids to do for brain development, and they'll like, that's educational style content. But no one ever does that blind. They take content that works and they repurpose that with AI as scripts. And I can show you that if we had more. I'll show you that in live. I'll do a whole study on that and how content creators, I've got an AI tool for you already. You just take someone else's reel. By the way, all content creators do this. So you've got to get over this. You take something that works, you put it into AI, and it's going to create a script for you. I'll give it to you live, and you guys will have all that stuff sorted for you. I'll show you how to create a whole content machine for yourself. So times have really changed. And if to produce new patients, I'm going to give you the math on this in a moment. If we go from 8 to 24 new patients and we still converted 25%, then that brings us to $3,000 per week at 10 PVA. That's 50 weeks. It's $150,000. Okay. So triple new patients is hard. Now, what if we go back to 8 new patients, but instead of converting at 25%, everybody, we converted 60% to 24 PVA, just 60% to 24 PVA. Seems pretty achievable. So that's 8 new patients, 60% is 5. And then that's 1,200 case value instead of 500. And then that's $9,600 a week times 50 weeks. That is $500,000. Okay. So we went from 8 equaling 50,000, or 8 can equal $500,000. So what do you guys choose? Okay.
Let's go with 500,000.
Yeah, but I think what's so crazy is like when you actually see that, it gets even crazier. But if you look at tripling new patients, 24 new patients, how is 24 new patients only worth 150, but 8 new patients can be worth $500,000? I mean, it gets crazier because if you just took the 60% conversions to 3,500 case value, that across is that 17K a week, 50K, 50 weeks, that's $1 million. Basically 875,000. So you can literally see 8 new patients and be broke, or you can see 8 new patients and have a 60% conversion and make $1 million, close to it. You guys with me? Yes.
Yes.
That's an insane swing. But here's what's even more insane. No increase in advertising for those 8. Same ad spend. Increased hours, but only really fulfillment. You still not increase new patient and report hours. But fulfillment hours, sure, but most of you can bend time a little bit in chiropractic because we get to adjust across. No extra staff, really, for that. And then very, very little increased costs. That's very significant in a time where everything, wage bill is just climbing and climbing and climbing. In the United Kingdom at the moment, we've got this thing called rates, which is half of rent on top of everything. And it's a difficult time. So we need these margins to be strong. So what do you choose? 8 new patients that earns 50,000, or 8 new patients that is $1 million? And I know the answer is obvious. And just to be clear, I promise you, the numbers I'm going to show you right now is what I deal with all day, every day from many, many chiropractors. So cost of acquiring new patients has gone through the roof. So you can't just go like, of course you'd like 24 new patients each, but do you know how much that's going to cost you? So if you look at the cost, the agency is going to cost you $1,500 to $3,000 a month. I am an agency, right? The ad spend, I say this, if you're not spending more than $2,000 a month, if you want to do Facebook ads, you might as well just write a charity check to Mark Zuckerberg. It's like, You're done. Guys, I do not work with a successful guy online who spends less than $2,000 a month online. It's done. Those guys are done. Finished. Like if you are pulling it off, your time is coming. So I work, one of my most successful practices, $2.5 million a year. They spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month just on Google ads. Obviously they've got loads of margins now. They're around 40 something, they're around 41, 42% profit margins, you know, but that's, you know, they're not, it's not like their wage and that's all included. What they pull out of the business is that, but they spend $5,000, $6,000 on just Google ads, $5,000, $6,000 a month on Facebook ads, etc. So that's the space where you're going to have to do if you're going to play this game. I don't want you to play this game, but I'm telling you, if you're going to play this game, that's what you're going to have to be looking at. Labor to chase up those leads and process those leads. 24 to get 24 new patient bookings, you're probably looking at 100 leads you have to follow up on. Booking rates across most practices, I haven't seen practice in ages. Even that practice I spoke about now, they're at 7% booking rate. That's the best I've seen in ages. 7% for lead to booking. That's the best I've seen in ages. Okay. So the true cost is $1,500 to $3,000. Ad spend is $2,000, $3,000. Labor, $2,000, $3,000. You're paying $5,000 to $9,000 a month for Facebook ads, right? And for that, on average, the customers we like get calls from are getting 20 to 40 leads from that spend. Approximate booking rate is less than 10% on every one of them. So you're looking at the real cost per lead is about $250 to $250 a lead, not new patient lead. Okay. Just to put in context, that 24 new patients, just how hard that is. Okay. If you're only doing online, and hopefully you're not only doing online. Okay. So if the booking rate is 20%, I'm going to double it. The best I've seen in ages is 7% in the US. Total bookings, you're looking at about 4 new patient bookings, and that's a cost per booking of $1,300 to have not to have a conversation yet because they haven't shown up yet. The average practice that I see on a day-to-day basis is spending about, they don't realize it, but they're spending about $1,000 to book the guy in the appointment slot. Okay. Then 50% of them only show up just about. So you're probably looking at $2,500 to have a conversation about their back pain. For the privilege to have a conversation about their back pain. Now, hopefully you're not playing this game aggressively, but if you are playing this game, that's also for a cold lead, remember?
Yep.
Cold lead, not a warm lead, cold lead. So also another thing for you guys to conceptualize very quickly is if we're paying $2,500 for a cold lead, is what's the difference in close rates between a warm lead and a cold lead? So most of the day 1, day 2 courses out there don't ever address this. I haven't even addressed this in my book, Jeff. But if we address this a little bit, I will tell you a quick story. So there's a online guru and he did webinars and he would drive people to webinars and he would close. And when he had a big audience on organic social media, and then he just put a few posts out as I did when I started. And a whole bunch of people went to the webinar and he did these slides and he sold something at the end and he sold at 50% conversion rates. 50. And he was like, I am the shizzle. I am the best at this. This is like, I'm the best. That's crazy. I am so good. That's crazy. But very crucially, for everyone listen to this, that was on warm. That's warm. So Justin, Mitch, that's your referrals. So I think one of the things we don't address when we're talking about day 1, day 2 is listen, an idiot can converse a referral. Okay. I hate to break it to you guys, but like there is no resistance to the sale. And that's what he was doing on his webinars. There was no resistance to his sales. We call that sucking up your early adopters. If you don't know what early adopters is, there's a whole early adopters. I don't know if you've seen that before, Jeff, laggards. So there's a few bunch of people. A good example of these are the people that stand in line at Apple waiting for the new release of the iPhone. They haven't even seen the features, but that's an early adopter. They're like, I'm buying everything Apple. I'm in. Very little selling needed. Almost no resistance to the selling. But I think we underestimate that because and this is why I'm telling you Back to the Future. If you're not doing orientation classes right now, $2,500 for a new patient, or ask Mary to bring her granny to the next orientation workshop for free. No resistance to the selling. There's trust by association. And like I'm telling you, I'm seeing people going, oh shit, those orientation classes are stopped at $2,500 a lead on Facebook. I better get back to that because it's Tuesdays and I'm there till 7 o'clock, but I have 4 guests to that and they cost me and they converted well. And so you're going to pay $2,000 for a Facebook. And I'm an agency, I'm telling you this. You pay $2,000 for a Facebook lead for a cold lead. And then you're going to be like, well, what's the difference? The difference is this. So he then starts doing Facebook ads to drive people. He's famous online. He starts doing Facebook ads to drive people to his webinars. And he's like, same slides, same close, same presentation. He went from 50% conversions to what? You can guess. He went from 50%. What do you think?
5.
He went from 50% conversion to a cold lead, from warm leads, 50% conversions, to cold leads, 3%.
Oh.
3%. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys, like, hey, not all patients are made equal. Like the Facebook lead, good luck. I'm saying, we have crushed with Facebook ads in all practices of many years, but you better understand that there's selling required and there's psychology required. There is no selling required for referral basic, which makes it so valuable. And what makes it worse is most gurus stand up stage and they brag about what? I didn't have to do any marketing. I built my practice completely off the back of, which qualifies them. They are the most unqualified person to help you with conversion from Facebook ads because they've never done it. And they're like, well, why can't you convert like me? I'm like, because I'm a mere mortal right now and I don't get 100% referrals. And if you do get 100% referrals, you can just close your laptop now. You don't need this webinar. Like, you're good. You're good. Like, you don't need me. You don't need Jeff. You don't need anyone. If you get 100% conversions, there's a few things I'll go through. I'll go through a little criteria for you in the buying criteria, and you'll see what I mean. So you've got some heavy lifting to do. And if you don't think of it like that prior to them coming in, you're going to have a tough time. And this has come, by the way, you can hear in my passion for this. This has come after hearing hundreds of chiropractors just complain about the quality of the lead. But you can't have quality and speed. Let me say that again. You got to choose. If you want speed of new patients, I can give you new patients tomorrow, but most people need time to build trust in you, or you can fast track in a few ways, which I'll show you tonight. So does that make sense so far? Is everyone with me? The context for this, why this is important and why it's become more important than ever. And I've got a real bee in my bonnet to this at the moment because like when it clicked for me, I was like, gee, that guy's he's great, but he's not qualified to teach how to convert because he's never converted anyone but referrals, which, as I say, an idiot can convert referrals easily, which is what we want, right? So if they don't know how to convert those things, how are you going to convert that? And then I developed this little framework, which was like, sorry guys, I'm just getting to the critical part here for you guys, is that there are kind of 3 key areas that you have to think of when you look at a patient tomorrow or today. You're going to be like, okay, there's 3 critical things that we need to convert this person. And it's like, if they are, I call it this hierarchy of stuff. If they come in and they're very high pain, and they are, their need is high, obviously they're a bit easier to convert. If they're very high emotion, either high emotion can just be clarified. Instead of saying emotion, just swap out that word for motivation. So high pain, high motivation, amazing. And then high trust. But I don't know how many people we have live with us because I know you guys in the middle of the day. But just quickly, guys, what do you think of the 3? Like, there is one of these that in the face of this thing, basically all resistance to selling disappears again. Which one do you guys think is the most important? Like, if there's one thing that just makes all selling easy, what it is, I kind of addressed it already in the way I've set up the context. But is it high pain, high emotion, or high trust? What do you think? Cassandra, I trust, okay? Okay, let me give you more context for that. So yeah.
So Ryan, are you saying which is the best or which is the easiest?
Which is the best to have? Which is the best to have? Like the patient that's got high, they're all cool to have. You want a patient that's, let's say, high pain, highly motivated, and high trust. But if I had to choose one, what would it be?
And, well, that engine number 3 is the one that lasts. As long as you don't do anything to chip away at that trust, which you always want to be working on and maintain trust. But man, if you get that trust, you've got a patient forever. And now the PVA is not 24, that PVA is 90.
Well, before they even converted, if they've come in going, I trust this guy, that's there's just no selling needed. And that normally comes off they've consumed your content for a long time and things like that. But I'll tell you a quick story. So with that said, this guy was on Oprah and he wrote a little known book, which I've already mentioned today. And no one knew who he was before he went to Oprah. And Oprah quite liked his book. And the true story about this book was it wasn't selling. No one was buying it. And he gave it to a friend of his who owned a car wash in America. And some guy sat in reception, read the book in reception a bit, and went to the owner and said, dude, I want every one of these. Like, how many of these do you have? And then the owner phoned this guy, I'm going to tell you now, who was on Oprah, and said, hey, someone just asked for 50 of your books. And he's like, who the hell's this guy? And he just happened to be the top of the largest network marketing group in America. He had his downline was like the biggest in America. He wanted for every one of his downline. And that was his like big little breakthrough he got, but it's failed miserably before that. And then he got invited on Oprah and he spoke about it on Oprah. No one knew who he was. And the true story from his mouth is that Oprah spoke about his book. Now, just for context, I've got some cool books to show you tonight, but just for context, Oprah like holds up his book and talks about it. Now, just for context, Oprah had like one of the most famous book club things in the world, right? And I always say this, Oprah could write a book and you open it and there's no words in the book. It's blank pages. And people would open the book and go, she understands the meaning of life. Oh my goodness. It'll be a #1 seller. She could publish a book with no words in it and it would be #1. I promise you. People will be like, this is incredible. This concept is revolutionary, So she stands there. She tells everyone about his book. They go to commercial break. She leans over to him in his ear and says, I just sold you 1 million copies. And that is Robert Kiyosaki. That is what happened. That is what happened. Now, that's trust, right? So the marketplace trusts Oprah. By the way, I've heard someone else say this before, who's the most powerful person in the world? And at the time, the person asking this question, people were like, Barack Obama was the president. Barack Obama, whatever. And then the guy's like, really? Was Barack Obama goes to her. She doesn't go to Barack. It's like arguably the most powerful person in the world for a period of time, right? People go to her. She doesn't go to world leaders. They go to her. So trust by far and away is going to be the, like, if I could just wave a magic wand, if every person came to coaching with me, #1, I'd put you on Oprah. Okay. Now, for most of us, that's not going to happen. You guys agree? Yes, that's not going to happen. If I could wave a magic wand next, Justin, I would just give every one of you 1 million Instagram followers. Like if I would. That's like in hierarchy. #1, I'd be like, boom, put you on Oprah. #2, I'd be like, boom. I might even say email list / Instagram. But if I give you 1 million followers, I'd actually go as far as to say if I give you 100,000 followers on Instagram right now, yeah, you would never need another new patient. So just for context, I work with 3 people now. There's a guy, he's an associate. He's booked 6 weeks ahead of time. No marketing. All he does is post every day. Now he's very good at it. He's an associate. 6 weeks of new patients ahead of time. I'm telling you, if you do not pivot to this over the next 2 years, you're in trouble because everyone's paid ads are going to get worse and worse. I know another guy out of Oklahoma. He's the same. He gets about 20 new patients a month from his social media following. He's got 40,000 followers. But if I could wave my magic wand, I give each of you 1 million followers. Boom, shaka. Just close the screen now. You don't need me. You don't need any marketing strategy. You don't need any sales strategies because people will just say yes because there's so much trust. Does that make sense, Mitch? Now, if that's missing, then what's next? Now we've got the scenario where we've got, hold on. Now we've got the scenario where we've got, okay, we've got to work for our money now. And it's like, okay, well, we haven't been on Oprah and we haven't got 100,000 followers on Instagram. Now what? Well, that means they're cold when they come in, most of them, unless they're referrals. So there are 4 types of new patients that I'll run through in the next 20 minutes that hopefully you can kind of categorize it very quickly. The first type of new patient that you're going to see, now bearing in mind that I'm not talking referrals here, but the first type of new patient you're going to see is high pain, high emotion. high pain, high emotion, and normally emotion on loss of function, movement, or daily activities. And they normally might look like this. So this is not actually a caricature of my wife, but we moved to Florida recently, and my wife's a chiropractor, my brother's a chiropractor, his wife's a chiropractor, my sister-in-law's a chiropractor. 5 first-generational chiropractors in my family. I will always say, thank God my brother-in-law sells alcohol for a living, because our dinner time conversation would be pretty boring without him. So at least we have one person spicing things up a little bit. But 5 first-generational chiropractors. And we go to Florida, and my wife bends over, and the classic cliche, Justin, she bends over, and Dana's been helping us so much with the cool exercises that she's been doing and all that. The back goes, and we homeschool, are running businesses. We brand new in Florida. We don't have any support. The back goes, and we don't know anyone. And she's in bed, and I mean in bed. Now I'm like trying to do the washing, the cleaning, the homeschooling, the freaking running the businesses. My wife's in bed. As a family, we're in pain. There is so much freaking pain, physical pain, emotional pain. Ryan is not coping. I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes to get her healed. There is so much pain. A true story. We end up doing the marketing for this practice. They just down the road from us. And we walk in, CA, amazing. They're like 700 visits a week, practice. CA runs the front desk. Natalie walks in. She takes him, gets her x-ray, shows her the x-ray, closes her. Of course, there was no closing needed. Into like, I don't know, $4,000 care plan. We're chiropractors. It's easy sell. We're like, yeah, we're good. Didn't even see a chiropractor. So when I say high pain, high motion, there was no selling required. Does everyone understand? High pain, high motion. Now, obviously, we want all our patients that are like this in many ways, because it's just easy. So it may sound like this. They may say things like, I can't get out of bed, doc. I'll do whatever it takes, doc. You guys know these type of patients, and they're wonderful. Okay? For many reasons. I'm beside myself with pain. That's high pain, high motion. I'm not even going to spend much time here. Honestly, like, you don't need many skills. You just have to be not an idiot in your communication styles with them. And I'm going to be blunt with you guys. I remember a coach once said this to me when things were going really, really well. I was on the coach with him, and forgive my language here, for emphasis, it's important. But he was like, I jumped the call, everything's going well. And he's like, cool. Only thing, Ryan, is just don't fuck it up now. And he was like, where can you self-sabotage? Where are you going to act like an idiot? That's what we worked on. It was like, just don't fuck it up now. So this is what I mean with you. It's like, just keep it simple. Ask good questions, show them empathy, let them talk, be present. Is everyone with me? That's it. You don't need to be skilled here. Just don't F it up. Okay. Then we have patient at the bottom of the quadrant, which is low pain, high emotion. So and when I say high, again, just swap out emotion for motivation. I think the best way for me to classify these people, so when I say it's like lower pain, it's not that they got no pain, but you know these patients, they may look like the golf guy who's like, I just can't. It's just like, I don't want to lose face in front of my mates. I want to keep my what's it called, guys? When you got your Jeff, what's it called when you got you're a 2 or 3 or scratch?
You're handicapped.
Yeah. I want to make sure my handicap state's good, or whatever it is. So there's golf players will do anything to maintain the handicap in many times, or sportsmen will, for example. But it also might look like this. So it's the same thing, but its arm a bit stiff. I felt it go a little. That's also like, it's not bad. Now, I normally say men will hobble in because they're idiots, and women are more smart than men. So they will walk in before they swore, and they've got a little bit of pain. Whereas men will be like, you guys know what it's like. They have to be they have to be dying before they come in. So women are way smarter than men, and they'll be like, I felt something go there. I need to look after this before it gets bad. Okay. So they may say things like, I'm only 35 with young kids, and I don't want to not be able to fill in the blank, play with the kids, swim with the kids, run with the kids. I'm not that bad. But I really want to be able to play golf. I have a big competition coming up, so this niggle can't get worse. Doc, I really want to get this sorted. I think if you think of the way we are emotionally, do you know how I think each one of you / me would respond in the similar way is like something with our teeth. So you imagine like, it's not bad, something a little going on. I'm not so sure about it. Like I need to get it checked. You guys with me? Yes. That's the same thing. And we're highly motivated by aesthetics. So I always say this, if human beings smiled and looked at their cervical spines and not their teeth, chiropractic would be a multi-billion dollar industry. Because imagine you wake up in the morning, you're like, she's C5. Oh, C5, I've got to get that sorted out. I've got massive osteophytes growing there. You guys with me, yes? No pain. But like if we smile and look at our cervical spine, believe me, no selling required. It's like, oh, doc, I'm in because, C4. Can you see? We need that sorted. That's kind of this type of patient is like, it's a niggle and I want to get, now that requires a patient of certain emotional intelligence or motivation to go for it. There's still some things you got to do here, which I'll talk about in a moment. But typically they will need subjective proof. So you're going to underestimate. There's only one thing you need to know about that patient that you must not underestimate. And it's the same as these are easier to convert because it's high emotion. Now, top right is high pain, low emotion. High pain, low emotion. Okay. And high pain, and the way I look at these type of patients is they will say things like, I'm sore, but it's not that bad. Like it comes and goes. You guys heard those patients say it before? It's like, it's kind of like this guy. And imagine he's sitting in your office though, and he's like, you can see he's sore, but he's a strong male and he's going to be strong no matter what he's saying. He's like, it's not that bad. And you can see it's freaking bad. Like he's like, it's not that bad. And they'll say things like, I'm in quite a bit of pain, doc, but it's quite normal for me. It comes and goes, or it just happens from time to time. But my last chiro just cracked me. I normally go to a chiro, but he's retired, but he just cracked me a couple of times and I'm fine. You guys had those patients before, right? Okay, cool. So these two patients here, that's our bread and butter. That's our bread and butter. There is another type of patient I'll tell you about in a moment, but that's our bread and butter. And traditional scripting and processes are really important for bread and butter patients because whether they are lower pain, high emotion, I'm very motivated, doc, or whether they are lower emotion, like it's not that bad, but you can tell there's something going on, you're going to have to really, 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 really slow down. So they are bread and butter patients. And our biggest risk here is a pain but not motivated, or motivated but not that painful. The biggest risk that I can relay across to you that you will suffer with, your biggest risk is not underestimating how badly they really want a quick fix. That's my biggest takeaway for you. This is like, whatever you think, whether she's like, even if someone's like really motivated, like, doc, I'm really motivated to get this sorted, but they're not that painful, you better slow down and show them objective measurements. And that's why much of the model that, I don't know how all you guys practice, but much of the model that I've been exposed to through Justin and Dane and all of that, there's so many objective measurements, Justin. It's like in-body scan, x-rays, bloods, like it's, please write this down, irrefutable evidence. Okay. Now imagine so the person they may be motivated, but internally they're going like, it's not that bad, but I just want to make sure there's something, but you need to change. You need to flip that because they're still thinking it's not that bad. And the patient that is sore, he just really wants to minimize this with a quick fix. And he's also thinking like, it can't be that bad. The last guy just fixed me with a few cracks. Okay. So the biggest thing, your biggest problem with those two patients, our bread and butter, is that you don't slow down and really lean heavily on both questions and objective measurements. So you really need to lean heavily on those. Now, there's another type of patient here, and this is all the good scripting and the templating. I know you guys are part of this group, and I know you will be, that stuff is important. But boy, don't underestimate how badly they want a quick fix. Both those patients that you think are relatively good, easy patients. There's only one patient that's incredible. That's the patient that comes for you from a referral. Next is high pain, high emotion. Everything else really needs a lot of work. And then there's one other type of patient. I want to go through all of this now, truth finder questions and all the scripting and stuff like that. We have a whole process for this that we go through, but I want to show you this quickly. There's low pain This is the most just moving us along for time. But now there's one type of patient that is very difficult. And this type of patient is a low pain and low emotion. And they look like this. I'm just here for a checkup. You know this patient, right? Like this is like arms crossed. Or I just saw your special on Facebook. Like nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Or it's like, hey, no, look, like nothing's wrong. My wife just told me I needed to book. So I booked. Okay. Now, what I believe we've been wrongly taught, the scripts and processes you've been taught, I'm going to tell you, you need to be careful here. Because if you bombard a patient with no, in the absence, write this down, in the absence of irrefutable evidence, or in the absence of emotional need or motivation, if you dig for emotional need, it's going to backfire. And I'm going to tell you a story about this in a moment. So we were taught all the scripts and processes. It's like, you need to dig for the hot button. You need to dig for the hot button. But sometimes it's not a hot button. Because let me tell you this, like, I'll give you an example of this. Look, like this is me. Okay, so I arrive in Florida and I grind at night. So I sleep with a bike plate. Okay, guys, you guys don't talk about it, bike plate. Yeah. So I arrive in Florida. I really need my bike plate in place, and I go to the dentist. I phone the dentist like, hey guys, like, I just I get my bike plate. Do you guys do that? And they're like, I can help do that. I'm like, okay, cool. Book me in for a session. I should get that. I know you guys, you just scan it and we just make the mold, right? And they're like, no. So this is the, when the patient phones and is like, guys, I'm really sorry. I just want a quick adjustment. Can you guys help me? What do you say? You're like, no. We're going to have to process you, right? As a patient. So I'm like, really? Like, what do you mean? Like, just do the damn scans. Like, and they're like, well, you don't have to come here, but like, we need to process your new patient. I'm like, go on then, book me in. So I'm like, cool. So they book me in. I get in the chair. And now imagine if someone had said, I want to know what's stopping you from doing. What deep, dark thing are you motivated by? I'm like, nothing, bro. Like, there's no pain. Like, I just want the damn bite plate. I'm like, oh, no, but what's stopping you from doing? I'm like, nothing. Like, I just want the bite plate. I just need a checkup. There is no emotional need. So then I get in the thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, okay, go for the scans. Let's go. And like, no. Like, we need to process your new patient. So like, we need to take x-rays. I'm like, just scan my mouth so we can do the damn molds. And they're like, no, that's not how it works, sir. Like, we need to check. We need to intake you as a patient. So I'm like, what does that entail? They're like, 47 x-rays. Okay, not 47, but 13. Now, I ask you, if you take 13 x-rays of your mouth, my mouth, anyone's mouth, are you going to find something? You're freaking damn right to find something. Now, I went in there with no pain, no emotional need. I was literally the guy going, I'm just here for checkup. I walked out paying $4,000 because of one thing, objective or irrefutable evidence. She just went, oh, there's a problem. I was like, where? You're like, oh, you see the big hole there? We need to sort that out. I'm like, oh, go on then. Are you guys with me? Yes? I'm going to tell you the fix for this. So what's happening is wrong. You've been taught that when the patient walks in there, we are going to find their emotional hot button. But not always a hot button. So this is another guy who moved to Florida. And in Florida, they're quite hot on, when I moved there, I just found they were quite hot on saying you need to get your moles checked. Literally what happened was my wife booked me in. I'm like, babe, I haven't got time for this shit. Like, please. She's like, go and get your moles checked. So I go to the thing and I'm sitting there and they're late, of course, and my foot's tapping and my arms are crossed. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then I walk in and she's like, oh, cool. Yeah, like you have for checkup. And I imagine she had gone, cool. So tell me, what is this stopping you from doing? And I'm like, nothing. Tell me, like, what emotional things is this pain? I'm like, I'm not in pain. Like, I'm just here for checkup. It's like, okay, so like, how does this affect your night? I'm like, it doesn't affect me. There's no pain, dude. I'm just here for a checkup. No questions, right? So she's like, cool, let's check your moles. So she goes, and she goes, now, is never a good thing to hear at a dentist or doctor. And you should write that down. It's called dentist noise. And that's your secret weapon in your examinations. Dentist. Sometimes a dentist noise can be so powerful. Just a dentist, like a, that's all you got to say. Like motioning the cervical spine. Ooh. Patient's like, what? Ooh, what? Like, ooh, what? Like, it's what she said. She goes, I'm like, what? What? She's like, not good. I'm like, what do you mean not good? Like, cancer, basal cell carcinoma. True story. Basal cell carcinoma. I'm like, and? She's like, I need to cut it out now. I'll biopsy it, and I'll tell you the results. Irrefutable evidence. I need to x-ray you. I need to find out everything. It's a diagnostic and prescriptive sale. She cuts it out, sends it off. I don't even I'm so useless with my phone. They phone me like 17 times. Don't get a hold of me. I get 17 missed calls. She's like, sir, I'm trying to get a hold of you. This came back positive. You have basal cell carcinoma. She's like, I need to see you back. Like this afternoon. So I'm like, I'm there in the afternoon. And she says, I need to make check. I've got it all, cuts it out, whatever. And I'm like, now in my naivety, I know many of you watching this right now might know more than me on that, but I'm like, so doc, tell me more about this, And she's like, I'm like, what's the risk of it's like metastases? And she's like, no, don't worry about any of that. Basal cell carcinoma has to be the size of your head before it's any risk. And I was like, well, then why do we cut it out? Part of me, right, goes, why did we cut it out? Because I'm always scared to cut those things. Now, most human beings on the planet are living with basal cell in some way, shape, or form, I'd imagine, in something, like when I say most, a large portion, and nothing ever happens. But it really got me thinking about this false thing we've been fed, which is like scare care. Now, I can tell you now, she had no problem telling me I had cancer, and the dentist said no problem telling me I'm going to lose every teeth, basically, if I don't do anything. And what they really were doing was just telling me the truth. They weren't trying to scare me, but I think what chiropractors do is the opposite of the truth, is they try to unscare the patient. Now, that's also not the truth. It's like subluxation is a serious thing. If we look at x-rays and there's things that are not right, what's happening is the opposite of this for a patient who's got no emotional motivation. So if you get that patient that sits in front of you and goes, I'm just here for a checkup, just check them. So you're like, cool, I'm going to check you. And then you check them. You know what I mean? You check them, boy. You're like, well, that's no problem. No, I'm going to check you. You understand? And then if you go to Justin's practice, it's like, you can't hide away from cholesterol, bloods, BMI. They're going to be put through. There's just irrefutable evidence. Like, cool. It's not good, dude. Cholesterol's this, bloods are this, x-rays are this. Wow, doc, I didn't realize. That's the only way you're going to convert someone. Honestly, pull right back from the patient. Just, I'm here for checkup. Cool. We're just going to check you. Couple questions quickly, like anything else going on, and maybe they open up a little bit. Do not flog that dead horse, because they're gonna be like, they're gonna smell it a mile away. They're trying to sell to them, because here's what's happened. The population, you read a book called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, and he's like, we were taught in selling to get yeses. So does that make sense, sir? Yes. So if you don't get the sorted, does it make sense that you're just going to get work? Yes. The problem with yeses is that every single sales script and process is yeses. And he's like, the problem is now people have got savvy to yeses, and actually a no is more powerful than a yes. So actually going to, is it, so you actually, it's okay to get them to say no. It's like, so would you be opposed to me giving you like my best case scenario, my perfect world recommendations? Yeah, even if it meant there would be significant time and money spent. Now, we used to say, is it okay if I tell you my best? But now, actually, because his theory is that people they can smell it a mile away, and they know that you're trying to get yeses from them. But now, actually, flipping it to would you be opposed to me telling you just the truth? Yeah, my perfect world scenario, no matter how serious it sounds. Like, no, I'm not opposed to that at all. Cool. So I can tell you the truth. Yes. Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah. So I just want to say these two people come into practice all the day, and the scripts and processes you've been given are great, but I'm telling you, be careful. Don't flog that dead horse. Think and go, you want to be checked? I'm going to check you. And this guy just needs irrefutable evidence. Okay. He just needs irrefutable evidence. So hopefully, I'm just trying to stay within time here, guys. But hopefully, like I've given you like a little, what I was trying to give you there was like tomorrow, you're going to have high pain, high emotion, easy to close, don't F it up. Then you're going to have lower pain, high emotion, still good, but a slow down, good questions, and still do irrefutable evidence. And the other one was the lower, so the lower emotion, but pain, still slow it down. And then the two that you act a bit differently with these two, let me try to get it up here again for you. But the no pain, no emotion, or lower pain, no emotion, I'm just here for a checkup, pull right the way back. So just a bit of a different take on your new patients tomorrow and how you can have a look at them. Because, and the big thing that opened my eyes to this is just those crazy stats on close rates in other industries, warm versus cold. You cannot treat them the same. The patient that comes in and goes, you help my mom out of a wheelchair. That, there is no selling required. That's done. That's so different to my wife referred me in for a checkup. I really don't want to be here. That is not even the same strategy. And yet we treat with the same scripts, the same processes, and the same thing. And we need to learn how to communicate to actually, that's a different sale. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Hope it was helpful.
Ryan,
3 minutes over. I've never been 3 minutes over. I've never
we
only
started
been 3
late
minutes.
because we were talking about bald guys. So, it's okay. But I do want to mention this right before everybody jumps off here. I do want people to connect with you. And I'm on your email list. I'm on all your lists, Ryan. So,
I'm sorry about that.
Well,
I know I sent a lot of emails.
when Ryan says that he reaches out to people and he's posting every day, he's doing all this stuff, he does. And just so you know, Ryan, I read every single one of your emails. Every single one of them, because there's nuggets in there, there's good things in there in every single one of them, and I know that you've spent time to give good value, and I know you just want to stay connected to people, and so what's the best way for people to connect with you if they want to start receiving information about where you're at, what webinars you're doing? You did great stuff on reactivation. You're just really giving out a lot of good stuff.
So Jeff, I'd say because I'm going to be spending a lot of time with you guys at the end of the year, I'd say it would mean the world for me if you just, I'll just get it up here. If you just connected me on Instagram, actually, that has been like, I've just been spending a lot of time and effort on that. And we got some cool content on that's coming up. So I'll just get it up here for you. And if you guys just went and gave me a follow, unusually slow internet actually tonight. Why? I'm just trying to get it up here. But Jeff, if I'll try to put it in the chat before we close this. But if there's an intern group or something like that you can share my profile, that would mean the world to me. Is that if you guys just gave me a follow, feel free to DM me on that if you like anything. I'll put it in the chat quickly. But that's it. It's just follow me and check my content. You're so welcome.
Absolutely. And,
I put it in the chat there. So drop me a follow on that. If you click on my profile, drop me a follow and send me a DM. To say hi, I'll certainly respond. But that's it really, and then hopefully get value from that channel. But it's in the chat, so just click on it before we end the webinar, because when we close it, you will lose access to that link unless Jeff shares it somewhere else.
Okay, so awesome job, Ryan. Thank you so much. That was a great description of the different types of people that walk into your office, and I connected with that really well, because a lot of the team doc stuff that we do, we're out sponsoring teams and we get people to come in. A lot of those people fall into that box, that corner box, where they're just wanting to get checked, and so that box is an important box for us doing team doc. And when we've got all these numbers coming in, how do you increase those conversions? Get really good, at that corner one that we spent all that time on, because that's a difference maker right there. So thanks everybody for being on boot camp. Appreciate all of you. And Dr. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us across the pond.
Amazing. I'll see you guys in December. I can't wait.
Wow. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the opportunity to get introduced to Ryan Rieder, probably one of the best in the country, if not the world, in communicating chiropractic and helping individuals maximize their practice, grow their practice, and just know your numbers, but also learn how to read people and understand people so that you can help them even more than you already do. So glad you joined us for this. If you are interested in Team Doc and learning more about how to get more new patients into your practice by sponsoring teams, if you want more kids, more pediatrics, more families, more athletes in your practice, I can help you. Team Doc is the way that you can flood your practice with those types of people. So give me a call or reach out to me, Jeff@spinesavers.com, and I'm happy to talk that through with you. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. Always stay hungry, my friends, and as always, pay it forward.